Okay, let's try this again. Quick setup, quick look, quick everything. From previous session to this session, we have a well-defined point of control right here, as well as a secondary up here. I'm not going to mark this though, because I don't know if it'll actually go up that high. We have our range as well as our current imbalance. We have our high that needs to be retested, failed, and continue lower. And of course, we have the bottom just in case it wants to retest that instead, and then continue higher. I opted to bring up a second point of control way up here because I recognize that a higher time frame might say something a little bit different compared to just this one session. So that's what I did. I went all the way back to previous Tuesday, this past Tuesday's session open, and I marked the point of control that was listed per the volume as well as the move up. Right, and yeah, that's currently where we are. The idea was that price is going to continue moving lower on the failure of this price level being checked. And even on the 5-minute, we had pretty much looked at on before my OBS decided to crash. We saw that this was part of the level that was being retested and that price would continue lower. And now we're looking at point number 2 because it's between this time frame and where this is now that imbalance had formed, and now we're waiting on second that gets tested so it can fall lower. That's pretty much it. I want to pause the video. I want to wait for the next available move. Yeah. All right, I'm gonna pause the video. BRB. Okay, so things should be just a little bit easier now to manage. Should be. We'll see. Had to fix up some Windows settings to get the correct gist, as you could probably see here. I don't know if that's capturing. Yeah, no, it's not. Okay, that's fine. Real quick, we're gonna take a look at news because news is important. Hot dog. Two red folders. Okay, let's make sure you guys can actually see this. Reduce source and then browser. Boom. Now you can see what I'm doing here, right? Pardon the switch up on the recording. I should do a lot better. Current news, as you can see, we have unemployment red folder coming out at 8:30. Forecast is higher than previous, and if the actual is less than forecast, it's good for currency. A lot more often compared to before, the actual is greater than forecast, which means if we see it above, which means this number is green or even slightly above this, we should see price continue higher. And then we have Jolt's job openings. Actual greater than forecast is good for currency. Forecast has been notoriously higher than the previous one time. I said notoriously, like I actually knew something right there. Forecast for the most part has been lower than the previous, but the previous has always been higher, and then the actual has been higher than the previous as well. So we should be seeing a green number on both of these, higher. Is good for currency. So this folder, if it's green, will continue higher. This folder, if it's green, will continue lower. and we can concern ourselves with both of them because 8:30 is right at when just before our trade window opens up. We want to make sure we get the best trade possible, and that's probably going to present us with the imbalance that says, hey, go ahead and check out our highs and lows, get them tested, and then on the 10 a.m. get ready for a wave because that's where we're going to ride. Okay? Okay. I think that works. That being said, on chart, looks like we got what we wanted. This level right here was tested and failed. We go up to the hour, and boom, we can see the same thing here. Price moves up into this area, this high, and it has slowly rejected it. We should be seeing a continuance down from where it is, which is good. I mean, that means the strategy is pretty consistent. It's tested at the same level 3 times now, which means it should fall. Separate from that, there's not really much else to really go over. There just really isn't. I want to make sure this video stays as short as possible. I think I've gone over my setup fairly well. In the event it wasn't super detailed and I'm mistaken, regardless of what happens, I'm going to be going to the end of the video after we get through actually taking a trade or assessing whether or not an entry point's decent enough or not. We will go ahead and do a quick overview of the setup and everything I've done up to this point, or up until that point specifically. So that way, you guys got a clear picture as to what my setup is, how I'm working around it, and whole 9 yards. That being the case, I'll pause the video one more time. We'll be right back. Un momento. Alrighty, real quick, I just wanted to give a quick update as to what the heck is going on. It is now 7:30 a.m. as you can see right here. Going to the high time frame real quick just to show you guys what I was talking about. So we noted the imbalance here, this for value gap, and noted that this high right here needed to come back up, get retested. As you can see, it got hit 3 times, and apparently there was a news folder that hit regarding the UK. As you can see right here, the monetary policy report for February 2026, right? Apparently it had a major impact. I'm going to go ahead and guess it was just CPI. It was a red folder. Very high impact news for London session, and as a result of that news folder hitting when it did, we had a huge move down, really big move down that is currently on track to sweeping out this low here and has swept every low beyond this so far. In continuation with the downtrend that it's currently in, I think it'll continue on downward. We'll need to take a look at the imbalance that's left behind from this candle going forward to best depict where price might want to go in accordance with this. I'm pretty sure I said before that per these 2 red folders, if we saw this one in the green, price should go, no, yeah, if this one's in the green, price should go up. And if this one's in the green, then price should go down. Gonna go ahead and take a look at these amounts here. Every time it's been lesser, it's been by 3, 9. That's almost 20. That's about 7. That's been right at 20 as well. So this one's going to have a much higher impact than I do think this one will, though at the same time, those margins roughly are the exact same. Going off of the most consistent here, a lot of the actuals have been greater than their forecasts. So 67 from 14 is 50s and up. 66 from an unregulated, undisclosed forecast. Who knows? I'm going to go ahead and assume it's higher, though, because the previous was 7.23, so that's 40-ish plus. And then 23 from 19, obviously, it's about 6, 5, 6, something like that. Good for currency, so if it's green, it goes down, and if this right here is red, it goes down. Previous was 110, actual was 209. It looks like it's on a move down. Forecast is 206. in relation to the previous and where the actual was compared to the previous on the January 29th. We're now in February. So if it sticks to trend, if price wants to stick to trend, and the news drops and it continues in the same direction, something tells me it's going to remain in a strong downward position, in which case we need to be on the look-see, do we need to be careful with our strategy. There's more than likely going to be an opportunity for us to use the secondary rule of my strat, where if, for instance, we mark a imbalance, we note a high, it's retested and drops. Cool, that's strategy number one, and of course compare it to the 5-minute and make sure the MACD as well as the volume profile are in line with each other so the entrance is as good as they can be. And then, of course, on the flip side of that, the secondary rule, if it doesn't present us with a secondary high to test off of a downward imbalance, then we'll go ahead and wait for the second imbalance to come around, close up so it's a valid imbalance, and then from there enter on that close, put our stop just above the imbalance's highs, and then watch it continue to drop. Things could change between now and then. Looking at this, it's a very stark contrast as to where price was and where it is now. So something tells me it'll continue in its downtrend on the high time frame. Our concern is going to be on the 5-minute because we've got several imbalances throughout this, at which point price could easily come back up and retest. Though it's looking more like we'll have a continuation on down regardless of retest. So we'll have to go ahead and rely on our wit when it comes to analyzing the volume profile as well as the imbalances to ensure that our entry is as good as we can possibly get. Clearly, I could have taken a trade here. I set this up earlier and said I would not put a one of these here as though we're going to enter. Though the setup was pretty much gold. Like, we couldn't have we couldn't have called it any better, realistically. We noted the imbalance. We gave it a high to test, a low to test, and sure enough, the high was tested and it failed. At which point, I decided to put this here because I figured, okay, price has taken its liking with these highs here. It's failed those. Here's a third high. Let's see if it tests that. Sure enough, it tested it, failed it, and as it was retesting it here, I figured, okay, let's go ahead and enter this because this could not be any better of a position to enter. And the MACD pretty much agreed with us that, hey, yeah, volume's about to drastically change up where we're headed. So go ahead and press an entrance here, just pick a direction. And based on the MACD's volume profile, as well as where the volume is on screen over here, I figured, okay, we're not going higher. We've been in consolidation for a minute and it keeps failing the highs. We're going down. So from there, we went ahead and placed this up. We did not enter in on a real trade. I'm still saving that for 9:30 and beyond. But when we entered, price did, in fact, tank, and we hit our final take profit. If this were to be a trade, that was a 1 to 5.38 risk to reward ratio, and we're still plummeting. Realistically speaking, I could have taken this. I could have gone all the way down here. I could have gone further, actually. I could have gone all the way down here. What would that have given me? That would have given me a 1 to almost 10 risk to reward ratio. That would have been such a good trade had I have taken it, but I chose not to because we are not within our window, and I did not want to risk losing on that trade. As a result, it would have been a great trade. It would have been a really, really great trade. Yeah. Yeah. I just wanted to give that quick update. See what you guys thought about that. Leave a comment down below. What do you think? Should I start trading London session? I'm getting pretty good at spotting my setup in London session. And I'm already awake during its time a little bit after it's open, but I figured might as well go ahead and see what I can do with it here. I'm going to go ahead and delete the high, the low, the imbalance, and the short position here. I want to see if I can do the same thing again towards the 9:30 mark. I'm going to wait till just before it to really measure the imbalance that's left behind from this current move, and if it is a satisfactory one, then I'll go ahead and consider looking for one of the two other setup gists for my trade to really take hold and run into the green with. That being said, I'm going to press the pause on the recording now. When we return, it will be a much cleaner chart, very, very much cleaner chart. We'll be right back momentarily. Okay, couple things, just a little bit of a hey, what's up update type of gist. So I marked the most recent imbalance on the hour. Okay, it's right here. This candle has yet to close. We got another 27 minutes for it to close. It's going to encompass all of open, whole 9 yards, right? Before we get into that, though, I wanted to take a note on the 4 hour because up until this point, the only imbalance we had was up here, and the highs were already tested. That was the cause for this move down. This move down swept past this low, and it was relatively close, so I wanted to take a look at the higher time frame to see if I can get a much more broad play. And sure enough, I'm able to. How? Right here. This is a 4-hour fair value gap. This is the most recent one as of yet. My thought process is we have a high here that we could target. This is a targetable high. The thought process is from this whole move down, we have tested this low left behind after this fair value gap. This is the setup I use to enter trades on. Price checks this and we move higher. If we go down to the lower time frame, we could see it doing just that, retesting this, rejecting it, and moving higher. But my thought process is, well, we're not near open yet. News dropped and it was as we expected. This number was lesser. That makes no sense whatsoever. This number was greater, but it's red. If it's green, it's bad for, okay, that's why it's good versus bad. That's what the color is. If it were lesser, the number were lesser, we'd see the price go down. Instead, what we're doing now is seeing price move up. We can't see this very well on the hourly, so we have to move on to the 5-minute to really gauge what it's doing. Well, if we take a look at the 5-minute, that news dropped at 8:30, which is right here. Literally happening as we speak. Can't get any quicker, any more fresh of information than that. My thought process is, let's apply the same strategy from the 4-hour to the hour, and then from the hour to the 5-minute. 4 hours play makes sense. We just swept the low. We're waiting for price to reject. And then from there, retest and continue higher. The hour is lining up just like the 4-hour, except in the reverse. We had a fair value gap. We had the highs tested and it dropped. That drop was the retest. Boom. This is, again, the 4-hour high volume node. This is literally the resulting from the imbalance up high. And then this is that same high value node getting retested. Now from here downward, we move to the 5-minute. 5 minutes a little bit trickier because it's much quicker moves. It having retested on the high time frame suggests price is going to move higher. Sure enough, that's what it's doing. It's broken structure. It's created a higher low. Whole 9 yards. We're waiting for it to continue up. On that same note, if we were to apply the same strategy we did on the 1-hour, we would quickly realize that we don't have much of an option when going up because we have an imbalance here from literally the retest. We have to see this imbalance completely disrespected. In other words, it not only has to break above these highs, but it has to continue so far as to break above this fair value gap. Once it's done that, we can then target an entry point on that fair value gap, wherever that candle decides to close. And then from there, it's got to continue much higher. In order to do that, we need a significant amount of volume. That's what I'm leaning towards on when the opening of New York Stock Exchange opens up. The thought process is that price is going to go higher because it's gone lower. It's gone very low now. It's retested a previous low and has closed just above it. In other words, it failed to continue lower beyond previous low. So the only direction price can go now is up. The point of control is up high. The literal volume profile is up high. All of the volume is high from session to session. And then based on trend having just broke on the 5-minute, and the fact that both the 4-hour and the 1-hour agree that, hey, price level was tested and failed on. Now we're waiting on that breakout and then continue up. We have to wait, though. We have to wait. I don't want to miss this trade, and I'm very inclined to enter literally on the closure of whatever candle goes up above this. Very inclined to do so to catch the 4-hour and the 1-hour moves. But at the same time, I don't want to put all my chips on black and go, yes, let's enter here and, potentially lose that money, because regardless of what I say, prices dictated that we are in a downtrend. We just broke structure on the 1-hour. The 4-hour just saw a retest, not a break, but a retest. And the 5-minute is in lieu with the hour downtrend. So we need a definitive break of structure, fair value gap reversal. And that reversal comes in the form of this retest here, being broken beyond its previous imbalance. We need to see it happen before we enter. That is the stipulation to my strategy. Either we get that entrance right where we want it, or it doesn't happen. And the only reason why we would enter in the opposite direction is if, based on the 5-minute and the hour and the 4-hour, this right here, both of these are closed underneath. If they're closed underneath, that's an entry point. If this is closed above, that's an entry point. Same story on the MACD, or literally just the MACD at this point. We'd be looking at the MACD specifically for our exit, because we don't want to see it flip on us at the end of that move and us crash out of the trade. We don't want to do that. So patience and time. Just gotta wait. Wanted to give y'all the quick update as to what the idea was, what my setup is, how it's going, what I'm thinking so far. We're nowhere near open yet. It is currently 8:39, on the cusp of 9. We're waiting on it. Yeah. So far, editing these videos has gone pretty well, and I'm almost done with the second one. Almost done. If you're interested in checking that out, links to the other channels can be found down below. This will be specifically posted to the Gaming Orb. If you want to check that out, feel free to check the link. Click on it. Have fun. Subscribe if you're new on the comeback. Enjoy the videos over there. I've been posting pretty much weekly over there for the past little while, as well as a bunch of shorts from these videos. So be sure to tune in to that. Um, if you have watched my streaming channel, Orbs Vault, Twitch, or TikTok, you'll notice that I have changed my little logo icon thing. That was a contribution from a fan of mine, and it looks amazing. You guys have got to go check that out if you're interested in watching any of my long form stream content type gist. I legit have just played games on that this whole time. And I'm working on piecing together a group of people that you guys might know, you guys might not know. We're a group of new streamers looking for a big audience. And we're working hard to meet those goals. Again, if you're interested, links to all that can be found down below. Yeah. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'm going to pause the video. We're going to take a look at what happens with this. I think when we unpause, I will have entered. If I haven't entered, it'll be because of something I caught with my eye and has swayed me against taking a trade. In which case, I'll still unpause and we'll go over it and see everything for what it is. BRB. This is a little tedious. How tedious? Just a little bit. Take a look here. So we have literally the low tested again. It's tested again, chat. From this previous imbalance, we had a low form. Cool. It was tested once, tested twice. Volumes built up fairly enough. I had a theory, a working theory, that if after an imbalance we mark the first low made and the first high made after, and the high is closed above, but then that same high is tested again after, but failed, then price's direction would continue in its previous imbalance. So in this case, down. And the working theory on the 4 hour and the 1 hour is that if on retest, falling back to the original, on retest, expect its rejection and for it to continue up. But if it closes below said retest area, or that point in particular, then we'll go ahead and assume it's continuing downward. So far, that's been the case. It not only has retested its low, but it's also broke past its low a little bit. Specifically speaking, the closure of it. It's gone below. It's created a new low here, and we have not broke structure yet. We have not. This is a low right here, but the closures are above this low. This is a low here, but the closures are above this low. Technically, per this break of structure right here, we're still in an uptrend. And the MACD is following suit with that. We are in an uptrend, but it's a false uptrend. Why? Because on the 5 minute, this SMA is supposed to match this SMA. If it's not doing that, then by default, we can go ahead and assume that it's going to continue downward based on the lack of volume here and the fact that it has all but consolidated. It's literally consolidated now, and it's after a trend down move. Yeah, so we're waiting on a break below. On closure of the candle that breaks below, that would be our entry. Our stop loss, I think, in the down direction is going to be up over here above the high of this imbalance right here. So that way there's plenty of margin for it to wiggle in and it'd be fine. Because it's already failed this price point here and is continuing lower. It's just a matter of waiting for it to continue lower. How much lower it'll go? No idea. There's a huge amount of volume that could come into the market and just sweep out the rest of the lows that has been forming so far. Let's go to the hour real quick and mark out some lows that look enticing because it's swept out all of this right here. Our next best bet is like clear down here. There's imbalances though we can target. Let's go ahead and do this. Marking that as the low right now. So we can zoom on over here, take a look. We have this low we can target right here. We have this low we could target right here. We have this low we could target right there. These two are relatively close. Why are these two counted as lows? Down, up, low, down, up, low. Same story here, down, up, low, all throughout that. We even have an imbalance area here that we could target. And I do believe this is where price is going to want to go after it's finished breaking past this. So we could see a move down, and I do believe the that high we mentioned before is like up here-ish. So we'll see more of a one-to-one with this. Beyond this low here, we can continue onward. Very hard to see that, so what I'm going to do is this, just below. Yeah, just below. There are trendline lows all through this right here, and this is a long shot, a very, very long shot. There's a low there. There's a low here. Honestly, there's also liquidity to be had here. And I think that's as low as I want to go. realistically speaking. So looking towards this direction over here, looking back towards this. This is on the hour, mind you. On the hour, we can clearly see major imbalance here. Price is continuing to drop there. Looks like on the 5 minutes finally broke beyond. It has broke beyond this low made here. Yeah, we can close out that now. Based on the way it is now, I do think price is going to continue much lower. But we are going to hold our P's and Q's just a little bit, because we have a sort of imbalance here. Do I want to count that? Kinda, but at the same time, I imagine the volumes pretty much spoke for itself. The lack of volume in a downtrend with the SMA, the price level below the SMA, while the MACD is showing a fall signal, tells me price is going to continue lower. I think on the closure of this candle, we'll go ahead and enter in a short, and we'll do just that. We'll place our stop loss up here, and then we'll have this right here. On the closure of this candle, roughly in here, our final take profit will be way down here. This is a stretch. Boom. We'll put our stop loss up here. That is a 1.7 risk to reward, realistically speaking. I don't want to risk that much. Instead, I'd like it just above this high here. That gives us a 1 to 4. That's not as bad in either direction, really. Could price retest this range? Absolutely. Do I think it will? Probably, considering there is an imbalance there now. Safest bet for this trade, in all honesty, is going to be this imbalance right here that we had marked. I'm pretty sure that's the imbalance. Can't see it on the 5 minute. Let me see if it goes. I love how it shows all of this, but it doesn't show any of this because it's just that far off. Oh well, doesn't matter. It matters greatly, but it doesn't matter right now. I feel like this in itself is going to turn into an imbalance, a fair value gap, and from that we'll see it continue on lower. And I know it's hard to see, so I'll do this. We can clearly see the MACD has crossed over. It has been in an uptrend-ish, false signal uptrend, right? It retested. Now it's broke through. We'll see it continue to go lower. Can you guys believe it's snowing for a third time in 2026? Actually crazy. Was not expecting it to do that. Not 3 times, anyway. Yeah. There was no imbalance within any of this right here. This was all very much a trickle deal. Hello, imbalance. Called that there. Looks like it'll be the close of that candle. We're going to be getting in on this trade. See if any other news is hit. Does not appear. Yeah, not yet. I feel as though price is going to go down. How far? I think I want to do a safe bet. 1 to 1.8. I think that's a safe bet. When was the last time this occurred? All throughout this right here. And this occurred at what price level? This whole thing up at the point of control. So I think it's gearing up to move high. I love how it hasn't broke structure yet, with the exception of this candle specifically. Yes, price closed below this line here, but it didn't break this low, meaning we're still in a move up right now. If it closes up, I'm inclined to think it's about to go up. This is such a back and forth deal. What does the hour say? Hour says down. No imbalance with the exception of this here. It's got to make a pullback. That pullback has got to come up in this. And we have a mini imbalance right here that we're looking at for retest. There's a huge buildup of volume occurring right there. So what happens if I were to do that? One to 3.8. That's not a bad trade. The loss is a little close. It's already moved down. It could continue down. We have an imbalance saying down. It's not broke structure yet. It hasn't. MACD's back and forth. The 4 hour says down. The 1 hour says down. 5 says up. I think it'll continue down based on the bias of the hour and the 4 trading with trend. Down is the direction I'm headed, and so I'm going to be trading in the downward shorts. Open's going to go all over the place, I think. No. Because it's already tested the highs and failed. I'm going to go ahead and enter on a short. Put my my stop loss up here above this high. And my final take profit is going to go roughly here. Same story, 1.8. I think risky approach, potential approach, 1 to 3 ish. I'm going to confirm it there and leave it. If I see 1 to 8 hit, so we'll just do this real quick. Boom. I'll drag this back up to 1.8. Boom. If we see 1.8 hit, I'll take 0.02 off, and then from there, we'll dial it back on that last percentage on the final take profit. But I want to see what market's going to do. And right now, it's looking like it's going to break structure into the downtrend and then move much further down. This is in parallel with the hour and the 4 hour. We had a huge move down. That could have been a manipulation to move it higher. Yeah. I think it's good right where it is. I think we'll be seeing it move lower. We just had a consolidation of volume build up. We shall see. We shall see. Five seconds for that candle to close. Let's see what happens. There we go with an open. See what happens here. Continual move down. That's good. Good. Good, good, good. We've entered the trade. I think it's safe to go ahead and pause video. Just want to note that we have not broke structure yet. We're still in an uptrend. This may have been a very bad trade to take, primarily because of what the 5 minutes saying about the uptrend, just still trucking up high. MACD is still at a stagnant parallel move, so technically still consolidation. Looks like I'm actually going to get stopped out before I even pause the video, so I want to know exactly what it is that's occurring here, because I had a fairly good point that it would continue low. It was fairly good. Maybe a revisit of point of control and then a fail, because that would be the imbalance and the high right there that is just retested. But having that big of a move says it's going to continue higher. Maybe there is something I'm missing. Looks like stop out. Yep, there we go. Got stepped out. So the initial idea that we're in an uptrend made sense. I was playing on the terms of the higher time frames, which was the safe bet. Everything about this says down. The only real test it's got to make is up to this right here. I could have moved my stop loss up here, but that was a really, really big risk. I mean, you could even see this here, volume's building in the down direction. It's pretty much fueling its way down. I got stopped out due to misplacement of stop loss, I guess. It was a 4 hour. Even 4 hour also says down. It's not moving up. Everything says down. I was playing right. Looking at this. Imbalance, nothing, 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 nothing. Mini imbalance-ish. High test, high pass. Right at the high I targeted for stop loss, and it's on retreat now. Another imbalance, high test, retreat. I paused, not paused. So we've been in this for what, 30-ish minutes? Oh no, we've been in this for almost an hour. Big oof. My bad. Was not expecting it to be an hour. Just looking for what went wrong exactly, what we could have done differently. I'm still hanging on to my direction being a couplet of two things. The MACD, the point of control, and of course, trend direction. I recognized it being in consolidation after this imbalance right here, this huge move down. That part was not wrongly called. The MACD being so close to the EMA made sense for it to remain a consolidation. What we were looking for was a breakout of said consolidation. That would mean an imbalance within or outside of. From that breakout, we would have needed to wait for level to get hit, made high or low, and then a retest of one of the two levels, and then a continuance from it. were the other two? MACD. The MACD was one I used. I thought it would continue high. I entered on a down per the higher time frames. The direction of trend was down, so that much was also rightfully called. Did I say that twice? Trend direction. The consolidation. I said that. Man, it makes no sense for me to talk. I just can't talk without making sense. Looks like it's going to go back up to the original point control up here. I guess I'm just scrambled brained. Big oof on my part. Hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Honestly, I feel like scrambled eggs right now. I shouldn't have traded. That's on me. Genuine, just bad decision on my part. It's going in an uptrend. Yay. We failed today's trade, though, so I'm not going to sit here and dwell on it. You guys have a good rest of y'all's day. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.